Hello everybody, welcome back to my garage. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Mark. Oh, you can't see me, there we go. I've got another jaunty camera angle today because we're going to be working on these cake boxes. What are cake boxes, I hear you ask? So if you've been tuning into my live streams, you'll know that I'm prepping fireworks in advance of a display I'm doing in Liverpool on Bonfire Night, which is this coming Sunday. So not very far away now. I'm doing as much prep as I can safely beforehand to make it a bit easier to do on the actual day, so there's less to do when I'm setting up. And today I'm going to be assembling cake boxes. You might have heard me talk about cakes. Cakes are these things. It's basically a barrage, a selection of Roman candles that are all fused together. So you light one fuse and each Roman candle goes off. And they're called barrages. We tend to call them cakes because it's a selection of Roman candles. And where do you find Roman candles? On cakes. So what are cake boxes then? Well, cake boxes are basically a way to keep cakes together. I've used these before. These are basically, I'll try and show you them. These are basically drawers. These are old drawers from an old, I think it was an old kitchen table, which I've kind of repurposed into cake boxes. So I can put a number of different cakes in here, fix them all down, and then connect them all to my slat at the back there, so that instead of having to set up 6 or 7 cakes on site on the day, they'll all be ready to go. I can just put this out on the display site, put a cable in, and away we go. So that's the idea of cake boxes. So welcome in, as I say, if you are just joining me, if this is your first time watching me live, welcome. If you're a return viewer, welcome to you also. It's great to have your company here this Monday afternoon here in the UK, just coming up to 3 p.m. Obviously, it's probably a different time in the world where you are if you're not in the UK, but welcome anyway. Hope everybody is doing well. So yeah, so I'm going to put some little cakes in here. I don't use big cakes in here, just my small cakes to save time on the day. I was going to use this one in them. This is brand new from Brothers, Pyrotechnics Brothers Fireworks this year. It's called Head Games. It's a multi-shot barrage. Now, if you've been watching my streams, you'll know that I'm limited to category F2 items in this display, basically because I don't have an awful lot of distance between where the fireworks are and where the spectators are, because it's quite a small site. So I don't do any category F3 products, which typically require a 25-metre safety distance. Category F2 products, on the other hand, typically require an 8-metre or a 15-metre safety distance, which I can achieve. Bambography is here and says good afternoon to you. Thank you for being here. Bulletproof Mum is here. Afternoon, only popping in briefly. School pick up soon. Yeah, no problem. I will be streaming again later this evening. But thank you so much for popping in, Bulletproof Mum, and thank you as well for your PayPal the other day. Greatly appreciated. I will try and find. Let me read. I won't read out the amount. I won't read out your name, but I will just try and find the message that you sent and read that out if you are okay. With that, let's find where that was. I did have it to hand. There it is. So Bulletproof Mom says, really appreciate your streams and videos. Also how your streams keep the community going. It's a great place to chat and be silly. Always know it's appreciated by us enthusiasts. Have a great silly season. So thank you so much, Bulletproof Mum, for your little PayPal the other day. It's greatly appreciated. And any PayPals I receive, they do go straight back into this channel to make the channel even better with new equipment, new videos, all those kind of things, new fireworks as well. So thank you very much. It's greatly appreciated. I just wanted to take a moment to say that. So thank you. But I appreciate you've got to go out on the school run. Yes, it is 3 o'clock here in the UK. I will be streaming again this evening. I'm only going to be streaming for a couple of hours now because I've got to pick up my daughter in a couple of hours time. So I thought I'd make a start on this because you know what my stream's like. We don't get an awful lot done on them because I end up talking. So I thought if we start now, do a couple of hours now, and then we'll continue later this evening. So I do hope you can join me again later for that, Bulletproof Mum. And welcome into everybody watching on the replay as well. If you're wondering who I'm talking to, this is everybody who was in the chat when this stream went out live. If you do subscribe to my channel and enable notifications, then you can be notified whenever I go live and you'll be able to interact with me in real time on these streams. Isn't that great? Philip Atkinson is here. He says afternoon all. Afternoon, Philip. Thank you for being here. So yeah, I'm going to assemble some cake boxes, and I was just saying that I was going to have these cake boxes. This is a new firework for 2023 by Brothers. It's called Head Games. And I'm limited to F2 products because I can't get a 25-metre safety distance where I'm doing this display. Now this is category F2, but interestingly, even though it's category F2, it says spectators must be at least 25 metres away, which is unusual because normally it says that on category F3 products. So here it says Cat F2, and here it says spectators must be at least 25 meters away. So that's unusual because usually F2 products are either 8 meters or 15 meters. This is F2, but it's 25 meters. So it's kind of technically F3. So I basically had to take this out of my display. So, and I've only just noticed this about 5 minutes before I came on the stream. So I'm like, oh, okay. So we're going to ditch those ones for this display. We can't be too careful. So even though it's F2, 25 meter safety distance is pushing it. So I'm going to get rid of that from this display. I'll be able to use it in another display another time. So these are cake boxes. These are basically just shelves, not shelves, drawers from an old table that my wife had, which I kind of use various bits from. If you saw my other stream, you'll have seen I used some legs from that to make some stakes for some candles. I'm now using the drawers, and my cakes are going to go in here. I only use small cakes in here, but it's a great way to just save time setting up on the day because everything can be pre-wired and it's all good to go in here. So let's go through some of the cakes I'm going to be putting in to these. These are basically going to be either side of my display site towards the rear. There's going to be a centre cake site as well, but these two are the outer ones. They're going to be kind of identical. They're going to mirror each other. So everything that's in one is going to be the same in the other. So in these cakes, we're going to have Fluffy from Celtic Fireworks. Really lovely low noise cake. It's the kind of the big brother of a cake called Fluff. It's basically had swirling to billions. Fluffy has swirling to billions, but coloured star spits as well. So it's kind of like a little bit extra. I quite like that, low noise. So we're going to have one of those in each of these. Mark Guitar is here, says, hiya all. Hello, Mark. Thank you. Welcome back. Good to have you here in the stream this Monday afternoon. So a couple of Fluffies in there. We're also going to have, what else we're going to have? We're going to have a couple of Brothers Ultimate Battles of Colour. I've never actually fired these. These have been around for absolute years, but the footage of them is so poor, so rubbish. So I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to fire them and see what they're like with my own eyes. Because all the footage is really low quality, really grainy from about 11 years ago. So be interesting to see what these are like. So don't really know how they're going to perform. But a couple of these from Brothers. They are, again, category F2, 102 grams NEC. Net explosive content. If you're new to my channel, when you hear me talk about NEC, net explosive content, basically how much explosives is in this one firework. In Fluffy, the NEC is 147.2 grams. So Ultimate Battle of Colours, 2 of those going in there. Next up, we've got, now I like Pyroworks products. If you watch my channel, subscribe to my channel, I actually did all the official product videos for Pyroworks this year. Now Pyroworks are a really brand new brand in the UK. They only launched last year, so this is kind of like their first sort of proper full year. I really like their products. I've seen the vast majority of their catalogue with my own eyes, and I can really vouch for it. So they don't pay me to say that, but they are good products. So I've got some of their little cakes. I've got Fission, I've got Fusion, and I've got Ronin. They're the 3 little F2 cakes that Pyroworks do. So these are the smallest cakes they do, only category F2. 16 shots each, 20mm tubes, 140 grams. So we've got Fission, which is going to go in here. We got Fusion that's going to go in. We got Ronin, and then we're going to mirror it on this side as well. So Fission, Fusion, and Ronin. And Mark says Ultimate Battle isn't bad. Fired it last year and they're really good. Yeah, I say I've never actually fired them. I know they've been around for well over a decade, but there's not really that much decent quality footage out there. So I thought let's throw them in and see what they do. So we've got those in. We're then going to put in a couple of absolute firework pieces. Night Tails, really lovely low noise piece. Some nice golden kind of waterfall horsetail effects in those. So Night Tails is going to go in there, and of course one on the opposite side as well. And then last but not least in here, we've got another absolute fireworks product, Happy Trolls, cheap and cheerful. This one is 25 shots, 183.25 grams of net explosive content in these. For reference, the Night Tails one's also 25 shots, and that has in it, let's have a look how much NEC that has, 162.5. So Night Tails and Happy Trolls. Absolute Fireworks, a lot of their products are being rebranded under the brand Quantum fireworks now. So Absolute Fireworks, Quantum Fireworks, Taipan, all those kind of brands are all effectively the same brands, but they're all being brought in now under the Quantum Fireworks brand. So Quantum Fireworks, Absolute Fireworks, the same brand. So Happy Trolls going in there, and another Happy Trolls in here. So that's going to be the contents of my cake boxes. Obviously, I'm not just going to leave them like that because these are all loose. These could flop around, these could fly out, all kinds of things. So we're going to secure them. Mark says, love Nighttails, not seen the others though. Yeah, Nighttails I've used before, really, really nice. Fluffy is a really lovely low noise one as well. If you've ever fired Fluff before from Celtic, it's kind of the upgraded version of that. So Fluff was basically just swirling silver tourbillons. This is the same, but it's got coloured spit stars in as well. So nice little addition. I really like that one. Little 16-shot cake. The Pyroworks one's good. Nice and punchy, nice and loud. And yeah, I've not fired Happy Trolls yet either, but I got it quite cheap. So I'm like, yeah, let's throw that in. Why not? So yeah, that's what we're going to be setting up. I say I don't know how much we're going to get done in the next hour and 50 odd minutes before I've got to stop and pick my daughter up. But again, we will continue this evening, whatever we don't get done, which probably won't be an awful lot, but let's see how we go. So thank you everybody. Welcome if you're just joining me. I'm preparing some cake boxes for a display I'm doing on Bonfire Night, which is on Sunday. So this is going to be the contents. Next thing I need to do is start securing these. So how do I do that? I think what I'm going to do, I'm actually just going to take one of these out of the way just to give me a bit more workspace for now. Put that one down there. And we can start on this. So normally when I do cakes that aren't in a cake box, I'll put a stake in them. So wooden stake at the front, the audience side, cake behind it, and then gaffer tape around that. That's how I would normally do my cakes. You always put the stake on the audience side. That way, there's no way that this can fall towards the audience. If it's going to fall anywhere, it's going to fall away from the audience. So in a cake box, obviously you can't use stakes. So what do I do instead? So there's going to be two things I do. I'm going to use some really, really strong industrial double-sided tape to stick the bases down and also the sides to the sides of these drawers. So that's going to be stuck on three sides, two sides and the base basically. And also I'm going to cable tie around that through the drawer as well. So it's going to be cable tied and it's going to be taped, and that will be enough to keep those in position. I'm going to do that for all of these. A bit of a tight squeeze, but that's okay. And then this will save me a lot of time because I'm going to wire these all into the slat, which you can see kind of at the end of the drawer. So that when I get to site, instead of having to set up however many cakes are here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cakes, I can just take this aside, put it down, plug a cable in, and we're good to go. So it saves an awful lot of time doing it this way in cake box form. So before I start sticking stuff down with double-sided tape, I need to basically work out where my cable ties are going to go round these. So I have a pen. Obviously I'm going to drill holes in the side of these. I'm not going to drill holes while the fireworks are in. Use your common sense, guys. Don't use a drill anywhere near fireworks because you don't want to drill into them. So a little tip there, but that should be common sense. So there is actually a hole there from a cable tie last year, so I think I can probably reuse that one there. That one also, because I used these for the first time last year, they worked really well. That one's probably going to be okay there. Let's see if we've got holes for... Well, we got one hole there for cable tie. I'm going to need to do another hole, I think, about here. So I'm just marking where I need to drill holes on the side. I'll then take the cakes out, drill those holes, and then we can cable tie and use our double-sided tape. That one can go in there. I need to do another one round about here. So I'm just using a little Sharpie just to mark on the sides, and then a final one around about there on that side. That's okay there. This is going to need something. So this is going to need one around about there. And another one around about there. So that should be okay. Let's have a look what Mark's saying. I have a 150mm wide roll of double-sided tape that's also used to make woodworking jigs. I nickname it. I can't quite see that because it's really annoying, this chat, because it does have the emojis, a little emoji in the bottom right. It's currently a heart. But I will see that comment in a minute. When somebody posts something else, that will scroll up and I'll be able to read that properly. So, right, so I've marked on where I need holes for my cable ties, just about. I need to do another one, possibly there. So that's there, that's there, that's there. I think we are okay. With these, I might just actually take, because this is an odd shape. It's easier to do square cakes, this is a round cake. So I need to kind of make sure that I take that in a little bit, I think to there. And that should be okay. Moving it on for you, thank you for that. Human fly paper, yes, thank you for that. Sorry, I don't know if you guys have this in your chat window as well, but on the bottom right of my chat window, I have a little heart emoji, which if I hover over, I can change it to different emojis and stuff, but it kind of blocks the very last chat message. So apologies for that, Val, but yes, 150mm wide roll of double-sided tape. That's quite a good width. This I think is only 50mm, but it does the job. I usually have to use like 2 strips on the base of these, but 150 would do it in one. But there we go. Okay, so I marked my holes on this. So let's take all these fireworks out, like so, because I'm about to drill in here and I certainly don't want to drill into any of the fireworks. I now need my drill. Yes, that's right, people are going to use power tools again live on YouTube. Don't try this at home. Right, that's my screwdriver bit. I need to get a drill bit. Bear with me 1 second whilst I find a suitable size drill bit for the cable ties I'm going to be using. So let's see what the width of these cable ties are. Probably going to need, yeah. So I'm going to use the 5mm wood drill. Well, that rhymes, doesn't it? 5mm wood drill. So wherever I've put a little mark on the side of here, I'm going to just drill. So, excuse me while I stand up. Like so. I think there was one in the back here. Good. And then there were a couple in this side. One there. One there. One there. And one there. Mark says it's quicker with a 50mm as it doesn't try to heat you up. Yeah. Okay, let's get rid of the sawdust. So not particularly neat, but hey, I don't care, no one's going to see this. I also put a little arrow on here. You might see these little red arrows. That just indicates to me which way round this is going to face to the audience. Doesn't really make much difference this year because I've not got anything angled in here. Everything is straight firing. But even so, I want to kind of get it so all my wires are at the back. Right, so that's that. So let's look at getting Fluffy in first. So Fluffy's going to go in this corner. So what do I do with this? Well, I'm going to skim the top. Skimming is basically taking this paper topper off. You don't need to do this to use your fireworks. I take this off just to save clearing up. If you don't take this off, you'll get little bits of paper all over your lawn or your firing site. So I'm just taking this off just to ease and make it a bit quicker to clear up. Doesn't affect the performance of the firework in any way by taking this off. But I say you don't need to do this. You can just light this as it is in your garden without doing this little step. So I'm going to take this top off like this. There we go. I'm going to work out where the fuse is because obviously I'm going to connect talons to these. I'm going to use talons on these. It's not a pyromusical. I'm not particularly bothered about the exact timing of things. So talons is absolutely fine. So obviously I don't want to have the fuse kind of in the back corner where I can't get to it. I want to get it somewhere where it's accessible. So there's going to be good. So that could go like that. So the next thing I'm going to do, I hope you guys can see it. I don't need to move that down a bit. There we go. Okay, so the next thing to do is some double-sided tape. Do this on the bottom of the firework, or I can kind of see the footprint that this is going to... In fact, I even think I may have even used a fluffy in this exact position last year. So let's get my scissors. Going to do a couple of strips of this. I know people that glue cakes down. I really don't like gluing cakes down. You don't need to do that. At least this way, you know, I can reuse it. The cakes will come off again, and I can put new double-sided tape down and it will be absolutely fine the next year. Say I've already used these last year and they worked really well. So a couple of bits of double-sided tape on the bottom. I'll show you that as well. Again, not the cleanest, these drawers, because they have been used before, but they work really well. Oh, and I only use small cakes in here. Reason being, again, these are drawers. It's only got this kind of plywood on the bottom. It's not massively strong. If I was to put like a 30mm tube cake in here, it could actually break the base of this. So, but 20mm ones are okay on here. So, how many people are coming to your display, Mark? Says 3D printing out. Well, last time I did it, I think it was between about 300 and 400. The year before it was only about 200, so it kind of gets bigger each year. So I would estimate somewhere between 300-400. It does coincide with Bonfire Night this year. Last year it was, I think, the day before Bonfire Night, the day after. So potentially more, especially with lots of council displays being cancelled this year. There used to be, I don't know if it's actually happening, I need to check. There used to be a big council firework display in Liverpool on the Mersey called River of Light, which attract thousands of people, but they haven't been doing that for the past few years. So if that's not happening and there's no other ones, then we might get quite a few people. So we shall see. Right, so I've got some double-sided tape on the bottom there. I'm going to do some double-sided tape on this side and some double-sided tape on this side. So it's going to be stuck on three sides. And I say this is good quality. This is 3M double-sided tape, so it's good quality stuff. But this on its own, I wouldn't trust to hold the firework in place, which is why I'm also going to cable tie it as well. I assume the cake box idea is still just a slim chance of cross ignition. Not really. You don't really get cross ignition. Assuming these fireworks don't malfunction, assuming these fireworks perform normally, I'm not concerned about cross ignition. You tend to get cross ignition when you've got showers of sparks, so from fountains. If you've got fountains next to each other, there's a higher chance of cross ignition. With cakes, less of a chance, because even if sparks fall down the tubes here, they're not going to ignite the firework. Down these tubes you possibly can't see, quite a big, I'll show you on another firework in a bit. There's basically little cardboard discs inside there. So even if a spark falls on there, it's very unlikely to ignite this firework. So cross ignition, not really an issue with cakes as long as they perform as they should. Obviously if this cake malfunctions, if it sets on fire, tubes blow out the side or whatever, yes, that could potentially cross-ignite another firework that's in close proximity to it. I've never had that happen, but it's a possibility. But these are going to be far enough away from the audience. Say these just require like 8 meters, 15 meters from the audience. These are going to be a lot further back than that. So not particularly worried about cross-ignition with this. So I've done a piece of double-sided tape there. I'm going to do one more piece on this side as well. So let's put that on there. So I've got double-sided tape on the bottom, on the front and on the side of this drawer. Now before I stick that down, I'm going to get a talon on here because it's easy to do whilst I can before it's stuck down. So peel the fuse cover off like that. You'll tend to find the fuses here, even though it goes into the paper there, won't actually go into the firework until further down. So when I'm using talon igniters, I try and strip this back a little bit, just a little bit further down. Just don't pull it too hard because you don't want to pull the fuse out. Just slowly teasing it down, as you can see, just to where it enters the firework, which is there, so that I can clip the clip on there. This visco fuse burns at a rate of about 1 centimetre a second. So normally when you light a firework, you've got about 7 or 8 seconds before the firework ignites. So if I was to clip the talon on where this was, it's going to take an extra 2-3 seconds, whereas if I clip it down here, it's going to be shorter. And over the years, I've kind of known from experience, if I clip a talon sort of as close to the entry point on a cake as I can, it usually gives me about 2 to 3 seconds before the cake ignites. And I can just factor that into my programming to account for that. So Bambography says that's cool, thanks. I've always spread out cakes with the worry of cross ignition. That's really reassuring. Yeah, bigger cakes I will always separate out. Not so much for cross ignition, but some of the bigger ball cakes can smoulder after they've finished firing. So they can fire quite normally, but they can smoulder for a while, and they can actually, because they're just cardboard at the end of the day, the packaging, they can actually catch fire after a number of minutes. So if you've got them in close proximity to another firework that hasn't fired yet, there's a chance that that could catch fire as well. So bigger ones, yes, I tend to space them out a little bit, not for cross ignition, but just to minimize the risk of a smouldering cake bursting into flames and igniting another cake. So okay, so let's clip this on. I only need a 50 centimeter talon. These come in different lengths, 50 centimeters, a meter, 2 meters, 4 meters. These are only connecting into this little terminal strip that I've got on the front of my drawer here, my box. So it doesn't need to go very far at all. So I'm going to clip this on again as far as I can get it to the entry point of the firework. Give it a good squeeze down, bend the excess fuse back. You could trim that off, but then if this firework doesn't go for whatever reason, you then can't use it again because you've cut all the fuse off. So at least this way, if for whatever reason this firework doesn't go off, this fuse is still intact, I can use it again in another display. So that goes there. I use a little bit of aluminium foil tape. It's sticky on one side, so I peel the back off. This just not only holds the talon in place, because you know these can pull off if you're not careful. It also just protects the visco fuse from any stray sparks from any other fireworks accidentally igniting this one. So we'll take the backing off here, like so. And we're going to stick this across. Again, it doesn't have to be neat. I just want to cover the whole talon igniter, keep it in place, and cover the visco. So that's my cake with its talon igniter in place. So that's going to go, could actually go that way round. Yeah, that's good. So next thing to do, I'm going to peel off all the double-sided tape backing paper so I can stick this cake in position. Easy said than done. I have virtually no nails left now. I've been doing professional firework displays since about Wednesday last week, like non-stop. So I've been out in the cold and the rain and the wind and the mud. I've been like knee-deep in mud for the past several days. So it's not been glamorous being a pyrotechnician in this British weather this time of year. But hey, it does mean that I don't have a lot of nails left at the moment. So bear with me. Right, there we go. That's all the backing paper off. So I'm going to stick this right into the corner as far as I can get it. Push it up against the sides, push it down. I mean, that on its own is pretty, it's actually pretty solid. In fact, if I tilt that up, that'll probably, yeah, I mean, you can say that's not moving. That's good quality double-sided tape. So that's not all though, because I am going to cable tie it. So I drilled holes in the side earlier so I can put a cable tie through here. It is going to need a couple of cable ties, but that's okay. Let's, where did I put my cable ties? Here they are. So cable ties come in different widths and different lengths. These ones are 295mm long, so nearly 30 centimeters long. Width of these, I'd say is about 5mm. So I drilled 5mm holes so I can get these through, no problem. Mark says I've made some V and W firing boxes out of 12mm ply. Yep. Fuse one along the length with slow visco and you can have a great, yes. Only K1 and 2, yeah, last being dumb cakes, absolutely, yeah. Right, so let's put this other cable tie in here. Now again, just one thing to be aware of, if you're using cable ties on cakes, don't over tighten them. If you over tighten them, you can compress and squeeze these tubes, which could prevent the effect from firing out and could cause it to explode in the tube. So always be mindful of that when you're using cable ties. So I generally don't use cable ties when I'm just using a stake. I will tape it, but here, because I want these to be secure, I am using cable ties. But say just be wary of not pulling them too tight. So I'm just going to turn this here so I can see what I'm doing. It's obviously got to be tight enough to hold the cake in place, like that, but not too tight that you're going to compress the tubes. So that's pretty good. Now that's really solid. I could turn that upside down, give it a shake. That's not coming out. I'm going to cut off the excess of the cable tie on the outside because again, you don't need to do this. I'm just trying to be a little bit neat, and we'll cut it off from the front here as well. There we go. Last thing I'm going to do on this, because cable tie is good, it'll hold it in place. There is still potential for this to jump out of the cable tie. So I'm just going to finally put a little bit of gaffer tape, get good quality gaffer tape, just around where in fact, let me see if I can tip this way so you guys can see a little bit better. I'm going to put some gaffer tape just around here, just to hold the cable tie onto the cake so that it can't jump out. So I'll do a little strip like this. And this is just going to go around like that. Push that down. Okay, so to summarise, how have I fixed this cake in here? I have put double-sided, good quality double-sided 3M tape on the base of the cake, on this side and on this side, so it's stuck on 3 sides, this cake. I've then cable tied it through this drawer by drilling holes and using good quality cable ties. I've then put a bit of gaffer tape, duct tape, whatever you want to call it, over where I've put the cable tie, just to basically minimise any movement at all. So this is rock. So I say I can lift this up by that cake now. That's not going anywhere. We'll get the fuse over there out of the way. We'll work out where that's going to plug in a bit. So there we go. We've done one cake in just over half an hour. That's good progress for me when I'm streaming. Okay, right. Let's get the next one in. So next one is going to be this Ultimate Battle of Colours, which is going to go here next to it. Bit more of an interesting shape this, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to secure. First thing I'm going to do again though, take the paper topper off. So go all the way around. This is, how many shots is this? Well, we'll count 12 shots, it says. Let's see if this will rip off like that. Okay, so this one's going to have a bit of power in it, this firework. And how do I know that? Well, because I can tell, because they've put extra weight in. Even though this is only 12 shot, they've done it around this ring and put like a bit of, it's almost like concrete in the bottom of there, just to give it a bit more weight, a bit more stability. Fuse is on the side of this one, under this rather shiny fuse cover. So we expose that. I love it when you expose a fuse cover and there's no actual fuse there. Let's have a hunt around for it. There we go. It's just under this bit here. So, okay, again, I'm going to just very gently tease this fuse down a bit to see where it goes in to the cake if I can. So I'm just being careful not to pull the fuse itself out. Sometimes these fuses can be quite loose in the cakes and come out really quite easily, so you have to be careful with that. I'm just going to cut down here a little bit. I think that's about as close as I'm going to get there. Yes, I can see where that goes in. So I need a talon. So if you're new and you don't know what talons are, they're basically electronic igniters. A little clip that clips onto the fuse. inside there's a coil of wire. When you put a current through here, that coil glows really, really hot, actually burns through. It's a bit like fuse wire, but that's enough to ignite the visco fuse and in turn to ignite the firework. So let's clip this on here, again as close to the entry point of the firework as I can get it. Give it a good squeeze, as good contact, bend the fuse over, get some of my aluminium tape, try and peel it off despite not having any nails. Come on. There we go, and then I'm going to use this to protect the visco and keep the talon in place. So there we go, there's that one done. So this is going to go here, in there. So I need to work out how I'm going to fix this. So again, I'm going to do some double-sided tape on the bottom of this. Because it's an odd shape, I'm actually going to do it on the bottom of here rather than on the base of the drawer. Do a couple of strips of this. 1, 2. I say you can't just tape it, rely on the tape on its own. Most fireworks like this have like a paper on the bottom as well, so effectively all I'm doing is just taping onto the paper. The firework could still come off the paper, so never rely on this on its own. Okay, so that's that bit done. Let's get some on the side. Oh, I need to work out whereabouts the side is because this isn't square, so it needs to go. I mean, in fact, the best way to do it, I'm going to put a little mark on there, a little mark there. That's kind of where the centre of my tape needs to be, on here and here. So let's put that in like that. And let's do another one here. Like so. It's good. That said, I have just taped over one of the holes I've just drilled, but that's okay. I will use my screwdriver to just poke through that again. That's good. Okay, so let's peel these backing bits off. One side. Two sides. And then the base. Okay, let's get this in position then now. We go, so I'm pushing it down, pushing it to the sides like that. That's good. And then I'm going to get some cable ties on it. So it will need 2. So let's get one. Let's find the hole first here. There we go. Let's get this pushed through here. Okay, that is coming. It's just going in the wrong direction on this side. Let's see if we can tease this. There we go. There we go. Although I have done that the wrong way round. Okay, let's take this out and put it through this way. So it does get a bit fiddly, but hey, there we go. Right, so that's going to be on there. These two are going to join. Oh, I may even need a third cable tie here. Let's see, it's going to be close. Let's see if we can get this. No, I can just about do it with 2. So again, I'm being careful not to over tighten these, but that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. So we'll cut off the excess of the cable tie there, and we'll cut off the excess of the cable tie there. There we go. We've got 2 in. I am actually going to connect these up now, because otherwise we're going to get loads of wires here and it's going to be difficult to work out which is which. So let me see which ones these are going to connect into on my firing system. So Fluffy is going to go into number 1. So I'm just going to turn this around so I can see what I'm doing. Apologies that you guys can't. But there's the igniter for Fluffy. So I'm just going to take the cover off, bend 2 copper wires back, just pull them apart a little bit, fold them in half because they're so long. So folding them over makes it a little bit easier to plug in, and then we plug this into number 1. I will turn this around in a minute so you guys can see what I've done. But there's that one, and then Ultimate Battle of Colours is going into number 7. So pull that off, bend the copper wire out, separate it a bit, fold it back on itself, and then this one's going into number 7. So like that and like that. Once I've got all the fireworks from this box kind of wired in, I'll then get rid of the excess. I'll basically sort of put the excess back inside like that, tape it down just so it's not all dangling out over the end here, and that way it's nice and easy to transport. So we've got those 2 in now. I'll turn this around so you can see. So connected into my slat, it's a 12 channel slat, means I can fire 12 different cues off basically effectively 1 cable. It's an internet cable, network cable. There's going to be 7 fireworks in this cake box, and then 7 mirrored on the other side of the site as well. So right, let's move on to the next ones. Let's do Night Tails. So Night Tails is going to go in like there. Night Tails actually has 2 fuses, has a main fuse and a reserve fuse. If you want to know about reserve fuses, I did a little tutorial all about those. You can check that out on my channel. Just search reserve fuses. All kinds of handy hints, what they're for, when to use them, tips and tricks with them as well. So, but for this, I'm only going to use the main fuse, which is this one here. But again, I am going to skim the top of this cake just to reduce the amount of debris on my firing sight to clear up at the end of the display. On a small cake like this, does it matter which fuse you light? Not really, although I think Night Tails does have a bit of a finale. So most little cakes like this will fire 1 shot at a time at a regular pace, apart from like the last row, which you might all fire at once. So if you were to light the reserve fuse by mistake, all it means is you'll get the last row firing together and then 1 shot each at a time. So you basically get your finale first. Not all cakes are like that. For example, I think Fluffy is 1 shot at a time. I don't think there's a finale on that. So yeah, so it's safe to light reserve fuses. You're just going to get your effects in a different order. What I do have to be careful of, though, when I take this paper off, is remembering which is the main fuse and which is a reserve fuse. So there you go. So this is the main fuse. The other one is the reserve fuse. Sometimes it's a different colour. Actually, it is in this case. Yeah, we've got a pink fuse here. Let's just remove this fuse cover like that. So I don't need the reserve fuse in this. I'm going to leave it on though. I'm not going to take it off. But what I do is I just bend it back inside the firework, out of the way like that. I'll then just put a tiny little bit of foil tape over that just to protect that from any stray sparks. So a little bit of foil, doesn't need a lot. Again, the chance of stray sparks setting a fuse off, it's minimal, but this will just minimise it further. So we'll just put a little bit over that. It doesn't matter if this partially covers some of the tubes, because the shots will fire through this foil, no problem. So there we go, there's night tails. So that's going to go in there. So I need to get some tape. Again, because it's not in a corner, it's not going to be supported with tape on 3 sides. It's going to be the base and this side, but I am then going to cable tie around it as well to keep it all in where I want it, which is kind of there. So let's we'll do some tape on the bottom of this one. So a couple of strips. One and two. I'm going to do a couple of strips up the side of this drawer. So I say I haven't made this cake box. This is just a repurposed drawer from an old rickety kitchen table that belonged to my wife. And I've used the legs for it to make stakes, to keep candles in position. You will have seen those on one of my earlier streams last week. And I'm now using the drawers as well. So there we go. So 2 pieces on the side there. That's good. So I'll take the backing off these. Ben says, afternoon, Mark. Ben here. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing very well, thank you. It's nice to be back in the warmth and the dry. For the past several days, I've been out in a muddy field. I'm doing a rather big fireworks show. I think the NEQ on that show was nearly 3/4 of a ton of explosives. So it took like 3 days to set up, fired in about 15 minutes. And then I was in the field for the rest of the night in the cold and the rain and the wind and the mud and the fog, de-rigging all that. So yeah, that was fun. It's not that glamorous being a pyrotechnician, guys. I love it, of course I do, but it's not all fun and games. It's sometimes you have to work out there in all kinds of conditions. So you've got to have quite a bit of stamina. Right, so taking the backing off that, I'm going to stick this in just like that. So it's stuck down and it's stuck to the side. I'm then going to use cable ties to go around this as well. So let's go through. Here if we can. Probably should have put these in first before sticking it down. Because again, I always do, I've just done my holes just slightly closer together than the actual width of the cake. If you do it wider than the cake, you're not going to get a nice good grip with the cable ties. So just take it in a little tiny bit. It just ensures you're going to get a good grip. But it does mean I've kind of blocked the hole with the firework itself, and now I can't get the I have to try and take this up a bit. Let's get this through like so. There we go. That's good. Let's get that back in its place, and let's get another one through here. May need 3 cable ties for this, we shall see. Oh, again, we're going to have to pull that apart just to get. Yeah, so the lesson here is to start feeding your cable ties through before you double side tape the firework in place. So let's tape that back in there again. Let's pull this through. Let's get this how it needs to be. Okay, let's join that on there. I mean, yes, you can get longer cable ties, so you only need to use 1 rather than 2. In fact, I am going to need 3 for this because that's not quite going to reach, but that's okay. Similar level clear up as doing a gig with a band and PA. Usually a gig is indoors in the winter though. Yeah, you see my background is in entertainment production, doing like live sound, lighting, all those kind of things at arena level. So I'm used to the hours. But yeah, doing arena stuff is kind of indoors and dry and relatively warm and not muddy. So let's get that through there. Let's pull this nice and tight, but again, not too tight because I don't want to squeeze the tubes too much. That's good, that's in place. So I'm going to cut off the excess on the cable ties, just for neatness. Cut a little bit more off that one. There we go, it's good. So that's night tails in. Let's get that wired up. Let's see what number that's going to. And that's going into number 3. So a little 50 centimetre talon, clipped on as far as I can get. Again, this fuse does kind of run down the inside of here, but it does go into quick match actually. So I don't need to pull this fuse back and try and get it to the bottom of the tube, because it's actually going to quick match here. So all I'm going to do is clip this on. Why am I using talons? Well, number of reasons. Firstly, the show I'm doing is not a pyromusical, so timings don't need to be exact, precise. Secondly, it means I can do a lot of prep off-site rather than have to rematch everything on the day. So this works just as well. And from experience, I know that I just need to factor in like a 2 to 3 second delay from the point of firing this talon to the point that the cake starts firing, and that works reasonably well for me. So put a little bit of tape over here to keep this all together, to protect the fuse. So let's go like that. That's good. And then we said this was going to go into number, what did we say? We said 3. I knew that really. Let's turn this around. Let's put this into number 3. So welcome if you're just joining me. 6 people watching at the moment. Thank you for your company. I say watching, some of you might just be listening and not actually watching. So I try and describe what I'm doing as well. So a bit of audio description as well as we go, because I know some people just have this on in the background and enjoy listening, and that's absolutely fine. You are equally as welcome as those who are actually avidly watching what I'm doing, which is just connecting the 2 ends of the talon into my slat. So there we go, that's night tails in. Next up, let's do happy trolls. Only 1 fuse on this. It is a bit unusual actually to have reserve fuse on a cake like night tails, because it's only 25 shots. You tend to get reserve fuses on bigger fireworks, compounds, things like that. It's unusual to see it on, it's not impossible to see, but it's unusual to see on just a 25 shot cake. I say this one I think is 25 shots as well. This doesn't have a reserve fuse. So there we go. So I'm just taking the paper topper off just to aid in my sight clear up, so I don't have lots of bits of paper flying around that I've got to go and pick up off soggy wet grass at the end. So there we go. You can actually see the paper discs a lot more in this. So yeah, we were talking before about cross ignition. Cross ignition, not really an issue with cake, because if sparks fall in the top, it's not really going to ignite the lift charge, which is in the base. So not really much of an issue with cakes. Cross ignition more so with fireworks. With fountains. Right, so again, the fuse on here goes into the paper first. There's only a tiny little bit. It's quite easy to miss that fuse as well. Can you see it? It's there. Right, so I'm going to just peel this back a little bit, just to where the fuse enters the first tube, which is about there. Get a little talon igniter. Let me just see if 50 centimeters is still going to be okay for these ones, because we're getting a bit further away now. Yep, that's going to be okay. So we'll clip this on like so, bend the remaining fuse back, get a little bit of the old aluminium foil tape over it. And then this just keeps the whole thing in place, and it protects the fuse as well. We'll get that nicely round there. Great, so Happy Trolls can go in here. So again, oh, it does have a reserve fuse on, I've just found it. Happy Trolls does have a reserve fuse on this side. I'm not going to bother, say sometimes I will sort of take, if the fuse is on the top, I will bend the fuse back down and put foil tape over. Because the reserve fuse is on this side, and this side is going to be facing here, the back of this drawer, I'm not going to bother foiling over that, because you know there's no chance the sparks are going to ignite that reserve fuse, because it's under its paper cover and it's going to be right up against the corner here. So let's get some double-sided tape on the underside of Happy Trolls. Like so. We'll then get a little bit along the sides here. I'm actually just going to get something to wipe. Like I said, I used these last year, so they're still a bit sooty, so I just want to just give those a little bit of a wipe, just with a bit of kitchen roll, just to ensure a better adhesion. So excuse me whilst I go into my kitchen. You should still be able to hear me though through the magic of technology. Here we go. Right, I'm back with some kitchen roll. Just wipe that a little bit. There we go. Wipe the bottom as well. There we go, and I'll just ensure that this double-sided tape sticks a little better to it. As I say, the double-sided tape is not the only means of keeping the firework in one place. It's going to be cable tied as well, and gaffer tape. I've just remembered I didn't gaffer tape around the first one, so we will do that in a second before we get this one in situ. So a couple of pieces of tape on that side, a couple of pieces of tape on this side, one, and two, like so. Right, so I'm just going to get some tape. So I've cable tied around these cakes. I then just put a bit of gaffer tape, duct tape over the top of that, just because even when you cable tie something, it could still jump out of the cable ties. It's not impossible. So by just putting a bit of this gaffer tape around over the top of the cable tie, it just kind of attaches the cable tie a little bit better to the cake itself. So that's what I'm going to do here. We'll try and do. It's easy to do kind of before you've got all the cakes in around it. So we'll just go around here and we'll go around there like that. And we'll just try and do the same on this Ultimate Battle of Colours. Even though we've wired that in now, we'll just try and get a bit of tape around the cable tie on this. Which is a bit tricky now because it's difficult to get into, but there we go. That goes in there, that goes around here. Can I get it in between Fluffy? Just about. Not quite. Let's just try and pull this back a bit off here. There we go, perfect. That's good. So I will tilt this up and show you guys what I've done so far. So we've got 3 cakes in. So double-sided tape on the bases of them and on the sides of them, cable tied around and through the side of the drawers. I drilled holes in so I can cable tie through that, and then some tape over the top of the cable tie as well. So there's no chance these are going to fall over and being in this cake box. And we're just trying to minimise the chances of them jumping out as well. So Happy Trolls is ready to go. So we will take off the double-sided backing paper on this side. 1. 2. 3. And all being well, 4. And then we'll take it off the pieces so it's stuck on the bottom. 1 and 2. So this is Happy Trolls, and this is just going to go in to this corner, like here. Let's try and get that in a little bit better. So that's stuck on these two sides and underneath, and then I'm going to put cable ties around it also. So let's one through that hole, put one through, and again I should have taken my own advice and started to feed the cable ties through before I stuck the firework down. Try and remember on the next one. There we go. Get that through there, like so. There we go. And then again, it's not 2 cable ties, not quite going to cut it, so we're going to need a 3rd. Should probably get some longer cable ties, but there we go. Right, so again, I'm pulling it tight, but not too tight, because I don't want to choke this firework. There we go, that's good. We're good. Right, and then we're going to just cut off the excess of the cable ties, neaten it up a bit. Might go a little bit tighter on that one, there we go. And one in here. Great, we're doing okay. Now let's see what Happy Trolls is going into. What number? Trolls is going into 2. So let's turn this around again. So this one's going into number 2. So we take the little plastic sheath off, bend the copper wire out like that, bend it in half. And then it's going into number 2. 1, 2. Incidentally, earlier today, before I came on the stream, if you've been watching my other streams, you'll see I did a lot of prep on my fountain boards. They're all finished now, and I tested them earlier. Obviously, I didn't test them in my garage. I took them outside in between breaks in the rain, plugged them into my firing system, and did a quick continuity test to check that everything was as good as it could be, and everything so far is okay. I will still, of course, check all that again when it's on site on the day. But doing this check beforehand just rules out any issues, because occasionally you can get talons where the little coil inside is already broke, so there's no continuity there. So the more of those I can find before I get to site and fix, the quicker it's going to be, the more efficient I'm going to be on site on the actual display day itself. So I tested all 5 of those fountain boards earlier on, and they were all good. No faults on there at all, which was really good. So right, there we go, that's those ones in. I'll try and lift this up and show you how this box is looking now. And then we've got our 3 little Pyroworks cakes to go in. So Fission, Fusion and Ronin. I do prefer cakes that have this foil top on rather than a paper top. It's not foil, it's like polythene. Because then you can actually see the exact tube arrangement inside. Really useful. The only downside of this is more difficult to pick up and see in the dark than paper. So again, I'm going to skim the top of these 3. So in no particular order, we're going to go for Fission first. And you can check out videos of these Pyroworks products on my channel. I actually filmed all of Pyroworks' official product videos earlier this year, so I got to witness all their products with my own eyes at their secret base. It's so secret it doesn't have a postcode, it just has GPS coordinates. So I went down there and viewed all their products and filmed them all for them. So I've seen firsthand what these fireworks are like. They're really good. These are really quite punchy little 16-shot cakes. 104 grams of net explosive content in each. 16 shots, 20 mil. Really good. So fission, it's going to go in there. Fusion is going to go next to it. Just take this red polythene off the top. The other good thing about this polythene is it's a bit more waterproof than paper top. So really all around the polythene is better, I think, on tops of fireworks rather than paper. But there we go, is what it is. Right, that's going to go in there, and then run in. So yeah, these are the three. Pyroworks only do 3 little 16-shot cakes, and so these are all 3 of them. I've got quite a bit of Pyroworks product actually. Pyroworks delivered me some product today, which is great. So lots of that's going in this display. Some of it's going in my display as well. I'm doing a display on this coming Saturday from my back garden. It's kind of my Bonfire Night annual thing, but I'm doing it a day earlier because I'm doing this display in Liverpool on Bonfire Night itself on the Sunday. So yeah, this Saturday evening if you're in the UK, not quite decided on the time yet. It's probably going to be around about 5:30 in the evening UK time. Join me for a live stream from my back garden, a little Bonfire Night thing. So that's always a lot of fun. I eat Jackie Potato on stream and people just tune in for that, and yeah, it's great. Shimmer and Shine official channel. Hi, I'm sorry I couldn't watch the live stream. I was in college, that's okay. The good thing about these live streams is you can rewind them and start from the start right now, or even when it's finished, you can go back and watch this stream again. But thank you for joining me, I appreciate it. And she says, no, but now I'm here. Bambography, I don't want to go too off topic, but could we look at the connection board? How is it connected to the main? Yeah, that's not off topic at all. If it's on the subject of fireworks or pyrotechnics, we can talk about it. So my firing system is called Wireless Pyro, sadly no longer made in the UK. It was a British made system up until a couple of years ago. Really good system. So basically I have these things called slats, and there's 12 channels on each slat, so I can have 12 different cues. You can have multiple fireworks on each cue, but 12 individual channels or cues. They connect through a standard network cable, Ethernet cable, RJ45 cable, to my firing system. So it's great because it means I can set this up on the field and literally run a single network cable to it, and that's all I need. So it makes cabling up stuff an absolute doddle. So that's my firing system, WPS Wireless Pyro, sadly no longer available, but a great little system. So I hope that answers your question. Can we look at the connection board? Yes, how is it connected to the main board? And locally. So yes, it's centrally powered. So my main firing system, which I don't actually have to hand, but that's the computer that kind of controls it. So all the slats, I think there's going to be 12 channel slats, I think, in this display I'm doing. I think it's 11. They will all connect back to the central brain, which is also the power supply. So they don't have a local power supply here, that's just the connection board, which means I can do all this nice and safely. There's no power anywhere near this right now. Power is all from the central brain to which all these connect. So I hope that answers your question. But thank you, that was a good question, I like that. Right, I'm now just trying to work out the best orientation of these cakes, because the fuses are on the side of these. I prefer it when the fuses are on the top of cakes, but when the fuse is on the side, obviously space is a little bit limited in here, so I've got to kind of work out which way around I want the fuses to be able to actually connect them up, as it were. So that one's going there. Does that one need to? Yeah, it should go in there. Okay. Okay, so I think before I start fixing these, I'm going to fix them all together, but I'm going to connect the talons to them. Check this one, yeah, that will reach. So remove the fuse cover. These ones do only have one fuse on, so 16-shot ones. Try and just tease the fuse down a little bit to where it actually enters the first tube. Do that on all of them. So remove the fuse cover, the orange Fuse cover has a centre section that just pulls away. Fuse should be, in theory, underneath it. Most cases it is. Occasionally it's not. And you see the fuse goes into the paper there, but it actually doesn't go into the firework till down here. So by just teasing this down a little bit, it means when I connect my Talon igniter to it, I can get less of a delay than if I was to clip it up at the top. So, and let's do run-in as well. So there's the fuse cover. And we're just going to tease this down like that. Right, so let's get some talons on these. So I'm just going to clip this one on here, remove a bit of this excess paper that's in the way. Clip this on like so. Let's work out where this is going to be best placed to go, possibly like that. So bend the excess fuse out of the way. I'm going to cover that with foil, probably this way actually. Like that, that's good. So that's running, so running's going to go in there. Check it fits in with its Talon. Yep, that's good. Fusion, let's do fusion next. So another Talon igniter. We're going to clip it down there. Bend this around. And a bit of foil over that as well. We might actually get one of these cake boxes done before 5 tonight. So we have another one to do. If you're just joining me, there's going to be 2 of these at the rear of my firing sight on opposite sides. So it's basically going to be symmetry. So everything that's in this cake box, I'm going to mirror it in another cake box on the other side of the firing sight. And these contain just small bore cakes. And the reason I'm doing this is because basically I can prep all this in advance. So when it comes to the display day, I can take this box, this drawer, put it on the site, plug a cable in, and it's kind of good to go. So I don't do this with all my cakes. My bigger cakes are all going to be individually staked and taped on the actual day itself. But little cakes like this, the more I can kind of do in advance, really, the better. So that one will go in there quite nicely. And then let's get a Talon on this one. Bambography says, cheers, is it normal network cable good for 12-24 volts? Is a special version? No, it's just normal network cable. My system runs on 24 volts. Basically anything that's Cat 5e or above, which, let's be honest, most data cables are now. Cat 5e, Cat 6, Cat 7, all good to use. Wouldn't use anything less than Cat 5e just because of the resistance over it. But Cat 5e and above is fine. My cables are all Cat 5e and I run like 20-meter runs on that back to the central firing system, and everything fires no problem. So my guitar says my standard cable, dead cheap, and as long as you can be bothered to buy. Yeah, made it with a switch per Q community. Yes, absolutely, yeah. So again, you can go for Cat 6, which will give you, and potentially give you longer cable runs, Cat 7, but you're paying for that. I've not had an issue with Cat 5e on this. I've joined 2 20-meter cables, get 40-meter runs on it, and it'll fire, you know, loads of Talons on 1 Q, no problem. But again, I'm running at 24 volts as well, so that does give it a bit more oomph, as it were. So clip that one on there, bend the fuse out of the way. And let's get some tape over that. Yeah, so some firing systems run off 9-volt batteries, some run off 12, some run off 24. Basically, the more voltage you've got, potentially the longer cable runs you can have, and potentially the more igniters you can fire simultaneously. So that's why I went for 24 volts when I was looking at firing systems, because I wanted to be able to fire quite a bit of stuff. I didn't have to worry about, oh, how much can I fire on one cue. So there is efficient, and that's going to slot in there quite nicely. So yeah, that all just about fits in. So the next thing I need to do obviously is tape these in place. So let's take these two out for now. Let's do them one at a time. So this one's going to go in this corner. So again, a bit of tape underneath. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a couple of runs of tape down the centre here rather than taping under each cake in turn. Just give this a bit of a clean because there's quite a bit of soot in here from last year when I used these. Clean the sides a bit as well, just to ensure a bit better adhesion of the double-sided tape. That's good. Right, where is the double-sided tape? Here. So let's get a couple of runs of this in the bottom. One, two. Mark says I managed 5 talons in parallel with no worries on 10 metre cables. Yeah, I think the most I've done, you know, I don't go overboard. I think 6 talons is the most I've done on like a 20 metre Cat 5e. I'm sure my system would allow me to fire more, but I just try and limit myself to 6 at a time. If I need more than 6, I'll use 2 cues. Go, that's that. Still a little bit down this side here. Bambography says, thank you, you're most welcome. So I love answering your questions. I don't necessarily know all the answers to everything, but I will always, if I do know, I will quite happily share my knowledge. Right, and then let's do a couple along the side here. So I'd normally do this under each individual firework, but I just kind of figure actually it's going to work out just as well to just do big long strip, because these fireworks are all the same size, same form factor. So this will just save a little bit of time in theory. It gets expensive firing 6 at a time. Talons are not that expensive if you buy them in bulk. It depends what you're firing. I mean, you know, if you watch one of my other streams, you'll see I set up some candle fans, some W-shaped candle fans, and I could have put a talon on each of the 3 candles in that. I actually just fast fuse between them, lightning fast fuse, and just use 1 talon. So there's ways you can minimise the number of talons you use. It depends what you use them for. If I was firing 6 cakes together, I'd probably use 6 talons. So, right, let's get this first one in. Well, let's try and peel the backing off. No, actually, let's get the cable ties in first. We've learned from the other ones that it's best to try and poke the cable ties through first. So, let's get one in here and one out through here. So this is going to go around the first one. Let's connect these ready to go. Like that. So one's going to go there. Oh, 6 finale. Oh, I see what you mean. Yes. Yeah, the talons themselves are not expensive, but yeah, firing 6 dump cakes at the same time, yeah, that would get expensive. Yeah, I get where you're coming from on that. Yeah, we should be able to get around with 2 on here, so let's get this one through the same hole if we can. It's a bit of a squeeze, but it will work. Again, you want these to be quite tight. You don't want to do massively oversized holes because you want to get a good grip on these. So by only doing the holes, drilling the holes the size you need, just gives a bit more support and stability to these. So let's get this one in through here, like so. So that's the support for my second cake, and then let's get a couple more for the last one. So in through here. Like this. There we go. And this one's going to go through this way, up this side. Great, so I've now got my cable ties kind of ready in position. Oh. So I'm going to peel off the double-sided tape, get these in situ and pull the cable ties tight, but not too tight. So, right, let's do fission first. Well, let's pull the backing tape off first and foremost from my double-sided tape bits. And we've got 10 people watching at the moment, so welcome if you're just joining me. If this is your first time watching one of my lives, welcome. My name is Mark. I do fireworks professionally and as a hobby. And I'm just currently setting up, doing some prep for a display I'm doing in Liverpool on Bonfire Night, which is this coming Sunday. So it's all category F2 fireworks on this display because space is limited. So no giant fireworks, but I do quite a lot of smaller fireworks. And they're all electronically fired. It's not a pyro musical, so it's not set to music, but it should still look good. And I've been live streaming a few times over the past couple of weeks. You'll have seen me set up my fountain tables. And we did some candles as well. We did some cakes. We've done all sorts of different bits and bobs. I'm currently setting up my cake boxes, which is going to be 2 on this display. And we've still got lots of other stuff to set up. We've got more cakes to prep. Got more cakes to prep. Got some candles to prep as well, which we'll do. Probably not on this stream. Maybe on a stream this evening. Maybe on a stream tomorrow. We'll see. But I've got some great big... in fact, I want to show you these because these are massive candles. Yes, they're a bit oversized for what they are, but yeah, that's a Roman candle. Only category F2 as well. Aurora Borealis by Pyroworks. Not a bad candle. As I say, it's kind of doesn't need to be that big, but we'll look at how we prep those as well in another stream coming up either tonight or tomorrow or some point this week, because there's still quite a lot of prep to do. I've also got a prep for my little back garden display that I'm going to be doing on Saturday live on YouTube for you guys as well. So lots of small live streams coming your way over the next few days. So there isn't a streaming schedule as such, but if you subscribe to my channel and enable notifications, then you will be notified whenever I go live. Right, so I'm going to try and get fission in here if we can. It's a bit of a tight squeeze. I don't want it to stick to the sides just yet until it's at the bottom. Let's get my cable tie out of the way. There we go. We're in. Right, good. Let's cable tie this one up. Let's just get the igniter out of the way so we're not cable tying that when it doesn't need to be. So there we go. Let's make sure that's nice and flat. Good. Right. There we go. Like this. So again, tight but not too tight because you don't want to and compress the cardboard tubes inside this cake. That's good. Yep, happy with that one. So let's wire this one up before we lose track. I'm just curious, Cat 5e is an 8-core cable. How does that work with 12 Qs? Yeah, no, that is a good question. So it basically works. Two of them are basically two new. How can I explain this? So for a circuit, you need a positive and a negative. You need continuity. So 6 of the cables will do 6 of the channels, and 6 of the cables will do 6 of the other channels. But the two, basically cables 7 and 8, wire 7 and 8, are like the negatives. So there's one negative for 6 and the other negative for the 6 as well. So you can basically get 2 circuits of 6 out of 8 channels by using 7 and 8 as the 2 neutrals or the negatives or whatever. I hope that, I haven't explained that very well, but I hope that makes sense. So basically 6 of the wires are used for the first 6 channels. The same 6 are used for the second set of 6 channels, but a different cable. So 7, I'm making this more complicated than it needs to be. Okay, let's call the wires 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. 1 and 7 are a circuit, 2 and 7, 3 and 7, 4 and 7, 5 and 7, 6 and 7 are your first 6 circuits. Then you've got 1 and 8, 2 and 8, 3 and 8, 4 and 8, 5 and 8, 6 and 8. That gives you 12. I hope that makes I hope that makes sense. Let's catch up on chat as well, because I've been missing a chat. Philip Atkinson says 6 Blue Star eruptions work out at £90. Yeah, probably get them cheaper buying in bulk. That's very true. The candle looks like a prop for Money I Shrunk the Kids. Yeah, it's massive. It doesn't need to be, but it's certainly a wow factor. If somebody's not aware, if somebody sees a picture of it and then sees one in real life, they're like, wow, okay, wasn't expecting it to be that big, but it's only F2. A bibliography, I got you 2 common grounds. Yeah, basically, yes, that's what I was trying to say. 2 common grounds. I'd figure it must be something like that. Yeah. Right, let's get the next one in. Oh, actually, no, we were going to wire this one up first, so that we don't lose track of which one is which. So this was Fission from Pyroworks, and that's going into. Let's have a look. 4. So let's turn the box around. Sorry, I'm singing now, I don't know why. This is going into number 4. So just about reaches. Let's make sure we don't get caught up in those cable ties. That's good. So there we go, that's in 4. Next one's going to be in 5. I can just do it this way around, it'd be easier, wouldn't it? So let's get that cable tie out of the way. We want to go around these ones. And then we want to... This is a bit fiddly. I'm trying to do it without touching the double-sided tape on the side, because once I do that, I'm not going to then be able to get the cake down anymore. That's doing okay. There we go, we're in. Great. So let's get the wire out of the way for that one. Oh, I think I've landed on a cable tie. There we go. Let's get that in there. Let's get this cable tie down the side here. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to get gaffer tape around these either, but we'll be okay. Right, let's get this in here. So tight, but not too tight. That's good. And then this one is going into number 5. my slats. Like so. That's good. And then we've just got one more to get in here. Which is running. So you're just going to cut a little bit of slack off that cable tie because it's kind of a bit in the way. There you go. Try and get this one in again without touching the sides. See, it's a bit like that game of you know, buzz wire. You get a fairgrounds and stuff where you have a little wand and you've got to get it over a wire without touching it, and it goes buzz. I used to be pretty good at that. So I'm just using a screwdriver just to keep this cable tie out of the way so that I can get this down. Oh, and we're still caught on the cable tie a bit. Let's get this through here. Let's get a bit more slack on this. There we go. Let's get that cable through there. Great, so we are now around most of the cable tie. Just a little bit on this side we need to kind of get clear of. There we go, we're clear. We're going to go in like that. Brilliant, we're in. Okay, let's get this cable tie down the side. Feed this through. We can do that. Sorry, I'm talking to myself now, guys. Trying to get rid of some of the excess on this bit of cable tie. May need some little long nose pliers. Here we go. Just to pull this through a bit more. Go. Yeah, bit of a tight squeeze, but there we go, we're in. That's good. So let's cut off the excess on these cable ties. Possibly could have gone a little bit tighter. See if I can grip the end of that and pull it through a bit. There we go, that's good. And then connect this one into number 6. And again, I will test this board, not here, obviously. I always do it while testing outdoors for obvious reasons in case something inadvertently goes off, but I will test this later, well, probably tomorrow now. Plug it into my firing system outside, check I've got continuity in all 7 of these talons. So the last thing I'm going to do now is just kind of neaten up all this loose wire. So I'm going to put as much of it as I can kind of down here, out of the way. Just minimises the chance of this getting snagged, caught on something. when it's transported. So let's get all these up here. Like so. I will turn this around so you guys can see in a moment or two. That's pretty good. And then I will just put a little bit of tape over that just to keep that down. I'm going to use just parcel tape, I think, on this one. Just to keep those wires there. Like so. So there we go. There's my finished, one of my finished cake boxes. Turn it around so you can see the wiring. There you go, guys. That's what I've done. So, and there's the inside. So everything is double-sided taped down at the bottom. I don't bother gluing stuff. I double-sided tape it with some really good, strong quality industrial double-sided tape. Double-sided on the double-sided taped on the sides and the back, the front where I can. Cable tied around each of the cakes through the actual box. You can kind of see at the side where I've drilled holes. Put my cable ties through. Pulled tight, but not too tight, because you don't want to squeeze the tubes. If you squeeze the tubes, cardboard tubes too much, it could stop the shot from ejecting from the tube and could actually cause an explosion in there, which could destroy all of this. So that's what we've done on this cake board. Let's catch up on chat. Mark says, my homemade one just does 4 channels per lead, 20 Qs, so 5 cables. Yeah, I mean, this is it. If you don't want to faff around with common grounds and things like that, then yes, an 8-channel network cable will do you 4 channels of fireworks. And actually, I will be in one of my other streams, might be tonight, we'll see. You'll have seen me set up my fountain boards on 5 speaker stands. In front of that, there is actually going to be a few other little fireworks that are going to be a little bit lower down, but there's going to be some jelly bean fountains and things like that, which I didn't want to put on the boards. And they're going to be on stakes. And I do need to wire out to those. And I didn't want to put a 12-channel slat on each of those because there is only going to be 4 channels on each. So I am actually going to be using some network cable. Let me see where it is. I think I've got some here. Yeah, so here's some Ethernet cable. Just check what rating this is. I'm pretty sure it's, oh, this is actually Cat 6 cable, actually, this. So yeah, 8 cores in this. In fact, if I strip a bit off, you'll be able to see the 8 cores. Let's just use my scissors for quickness, if I can. So yeah, you basically get 4 twisted pairs in here. So when you're electronically igniting fireworks, each Q needs 2 wires to make a complete circuit. So yes, if you don't bother with the common ground things that we were talking about earlier, then you do actually have basically 4 channels of fireworks you could fire from one network cable. So I'm going to be making up some little extension cables for these on a stream. Might be tonight, maybe tomorrow. I've got these little connector blocks I'm going to use, so the wire's going to connect into those, and those are going to connect to my fireworks to make it quick and easy to attach on the firing site and stuff. We'll go into that in more detail on another stream. But yes, you can just use normal network cable to make a little 4-channel firing system. So I'm going to be doing similar to that on a stream in the next coming days. So let's put this over to one side for now because I'm not doing that just yet. And let's put that there. Let's check on chat again. Mark says, I'm surprised you don't have tape dispensers. That would save loads of time. You know what? It probably would. But then it's a space thing, really. If I had tape dispensers for everything. But yes, I do get your point. For parcel tape, yeah, tape dispenser might be useful. Gaffer tape, I don't know. Can you get tape dispensers for gaffer tape? I don't know. It just rips quite easily. That's not a big deal. Aluminium foil, again, can you get dispensers for those? Don't see why not. Double-sided tape, yeah, I suppose you could. Yeah. But this kind of works well for me. A New Year, perhaps. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we'll get some dispensers for New Year. Bibliography says we have a small 32Q system, so I'll probably make up some simple 7-channel options with some drawers and network cables. But for next year now, not got time to do that in the next week. Yes, that's right. And that's the thing about, if you're electronically firing, you do have to put a bit more thought into it, a bit more prep. Whereas if you just hand fire fireworks, you can kind of pretty much do it on the night itself. But electronic systems do take a little bit more planning, a bit more prep, a bit more time. So Amography says, I just do this for my scout group, so only one setup each year. Yeah. Cool, so that is my first cake box done, which didn't actually take me as long as I thought it was going to. Normally I'd hammer out this quicker, but obviously with streaming and chatting to you guys, it takes a bit longer, but that's absolutely fine. I've prepared for that, and I'm pleased that we've actually got this done in about 1 hour and 40 minutes. I'm not going to stream too much longer in this stream, because I do have to go and pick my daughter up in just over 20 minutes time, but I'll probably be streaming again this evening, doing more of this kind of stuff. We might get onto candles, we might get on to doing the little front sides, so I can have the network cables. We'll see what we do this evening. We might just do some more cake prep, who knows. I don't plan these streams, we just kind of do them. They're a bit ad hoc. So do subscribe to my channel, enable notifications, enable all notifications, and then you'll be notified as and when I go live later this evening, because I don't even know what time it's going to be yet. But Tina McNeil is here. Tina, hello, thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in, watching, always watching, she says. Thank you, Tina, appreciate you being here. I'm just setting up some fireworks for a display I'm doing on Bonfire Night on Sunday, which is getting closer each day. But that one's done, so let's move that out of the way. Let's get our other cake box up. So this is basically going to be a mirror image of the one we've just done, with the same fireworks in, just mirrored. So the first thing I need to do, again, if you're just joining me, I'm setting up cake boxes for display, and I'm going to drill some holes in here so I can put cable ties around these fireworks. So I'm just going to get my pen and mark out where I want holes in the sides. There are some holes, because I used this last year. There are already some holes in here. Need to drill a few more. So one there, one around about here, one there, one there, I think one about there. That one should be okay there. That one's in. Sorry, you got a shot on my forehead there, at the top of my head. Right, let's see where we go here. So, that leaves one there. That's kind of got one in there, that would work. Let's do another one there. That works for that, and then one. Great. So, I'll take these fireworks out. Tina says, oh, okay, I was wondering what the occasion was here. We don't have that here. No, so Bonfire Night, if you don't know what Bonfire Night is, it's something we celebrate here in the UK every year on the 5th of November. And basically, it harps back to, oh, now I've got to remember the date. Bulletproof Mum did tell me the date on the last stream. 1605, I think. In 1605, some people tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament and kill the King. And Guy Fawkes was the man that was kind of looking after all the gunpowder, which was set up underneath the Houses of Parliament, and he got foiled at like the 11th hour. And so the Parliament didn't get blown up, King didn't die, and so as a result, we celebrate that each year on November the 5th with bonfires and fireworks, and we call it Bonfire Night, or Guy Fawkes Night, or just November the 5th. So I'm doing a display in Liverpool, about 300 odd. So I'm doing as much prep as I can beforehand to save time on the day setting up. And on this stream, I've been doing lots of other streams over the past week or so. I've been setting up fountain tables and Roman candles and cakes and all kinds of different, showing you how I ways to do it, showing you how I do it, and use some lots of handy tips and tricks, safety hints as well, useful safety information. And I know from the comments that you guys are that they're a bit ad hoc, they're not really kind of prepared these streams. I just do them as and when. There's going to be another thing. There's going to be more throughout the week, because I've still got some more prep to do. Not only for this show on Sunday, but I'm going to be live streaming fireworks back on Saturday, this Saturday, the 4th of November. Not sure what time yet. Probably going to be around about 5:30 in the evening UK time. So that's what, 1:30 in the afternoon US Eastern time. 1604. Okay, Mum's back in the chat. Welcome back. The plot was November 16th I had 1605. Okay, so I was pretty close when I said 1605. So yeah, so that's what Bonfire Night is. If you're not in the UK and you've never heard of it before, that's what we are celebrating. The target was a translation team for the King James Bible. Okay, fair enough. Bambography says, thank you for all of that, Mark. Always appreciated as always. Friendly Neighbourhood Pyroman say, this is another 4-hour stream. No, it's not. I'm going to be finishing in about 15 minutes or so because I need to go and pick my daughter up. But I will be streaming again later this evening in a few hours' time. Not quite sure when yet. We'll see. But again, subscribe, enable notifications, all that. You guys know what to do. And then you'll find out when I do go live again. So yeah, right. So I've marked where I want my holes for my cable ties. I'm going to drill those out now with my drill. Power tools on a live stream, what could possibly go wrong? Mind you, to be fair, fireworks on a live stream, what could possibly go wrong? So these are, I haven't made these are literally drawers from an old kitchen table that my wife had that I kind of broke apart and used it for various firework related bits. I used some of the table legs to make Roman candle supports. You'll have seen those on one of my other streams last week. And these drawers make nice little cake boxes to save setup time on the day. So I think there's one in the back here to drill. In terms of waterproofing these as well, because I know we've been talking about waterproofing fireworks, because this is essentially a drawer, I can basically put this in a bag. So the big bags that I've got that are going to go over my fountain tables, I can literally put this in a bag and then it can just sit on the ground. It'll fire through the bag. I don't even need to take it off the bag, out of the bag on the day. I'll just put a big bin liner effectively over it and it will fire straight through that and keep it nice and dry. Right, there we go. Let's tip some of that sawdust out. Oh, it is a bit messy, isn't it, in here? Sorry, I should have tidied up, shouldn't I, guys? You know, I invited you into my garage and it's a bit of a mess, but hey, welcome to firework prep. It's not the cleanest job. As I say, I've been in a big field for the past 3 days or so, setting up a big firework display. So I've been knee deep in mud and wet and damp, cold. So yeah, doing fireworks isn't always glamorous, but hey, if the crowd likes it, it makes it all worthwhile. Mark says, see you later on. Cheers, folks. Yeah, thanks, Mark. Thanks for dropping by. Hopefully see you on the stream later. I appreciate your company this afternoon. Thank you for that. Right, so in here, if you're just joining me as well, let's talk about what fireworks are going in here. All small F2 cakes, all 20mm cakes. This is Fluffy from Celtic Fireworks. It's an upgrade on their previous Fluff cake. Fluff is swirling to billions. Fluffy is swirling silver to billions with coloured spit stars. So that's a nice little upgrade on that. So there's a Fluffy in there. There's a Brothers Ultimate Battle of Colours. This has been around for over a decade. I've not actually fired it. The footage of it I've seen has been around for over a decade, so it's really poor quality. There's no HD footage of it that I can find. So I'm kind of curious to see what this is like. So I thought I'd throw a couple of those in. So that's Ultimate Battle of Colours. We've then got Absolute Fireworks Night Tails, lovely low noise piece of golden horse tails, waterfalls, whatever you want to call them. Really nice. So Night Tails is going in here. We got another one from Absolute Fireworks called Happy Trolls. So that's going in as well. And then we've got 3 Pyroworks. These are the smallest barrages that Pyroworks do. Pyroworks are a brand new brand for the UK. They only launched last year, so this is kind of their first real year. I've been fortunate that I've fired and filmed the vast majority of their collection, which is like 40 odd fireworks. You'll find all those videos on my channel. I've done all the official product videos for them, so I've seen all these firsthand and know what they're like, and they're really good. So 3 of these little cakes called Fission, Fusion and Ronin. They're all 16 shots, they're all 20mm tubes, they're all 104 grams. So 3 of those going in here as well. And that's effectively going to be my cake board. Tina says, garages aren't supposed to be that neat. Makes me nervous to see a clean carriage, actually. Yeah, that's very true. Which is why I'm doing it against this wall, because the other way is kind of... Behind the camera is, well, fireworks, basically. I've kind of got this little bit of area to work in. So those are the fireworks that are going in here. We've already made one. This is going to be another one that's kind of a mirror of it. I've just drilled holes at the side around these because I'm going to cable tie these down. I'm also going to put strong double-sided tape on the bottom, stick them down, strong double-sided tape on the sides, stick them to that as well, cable tie around, gaffer tape the cable tie on, and that will just stop any movement. Bulletproof Mum says, I'd rather be muddy in my messy garage right now. I'm covered in glitter from making my son's costume. He's 17. Is that for Halloween? I imagine it is, yeah. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to skim these cakes. So skimming basically means taking the tops off them. You don't have to do this. It doesn't affect their performance in any way, shape or form. It just aids in the clear up at the end of the night because you've not got paper or little bits of red cellophane all over the firing site. And red cellophane is a nightmare because it's so difficult to see against green grass, and when it gets wet, oh, it sticks to everything. You come home and it'll be all over your shoes, over your trousers, everything. So take the cellophane off. Cellophane, you know, it's useful. It does keep the firework waterproofed. I am going to be re-waterproofing these by putting these whole drawers in polythene bags, and they will be able to, these fireworks will fire straight through that, no problem at all. Still don't quite know what the forecast is going to be like on Bonfire Night. It's not looking great at the moment. Potential for some showers, potential for a bit of gusty wind, so we're monitoring that and we'll see. Same for Saturday as well, when I'm going to do my live stream of fireworks from my back garden. Forecast not looking amazing at the moment, but if you saw my New Year live stream, you'll see that it was throwing it down with rain, and I ended up live streaming from my greenhouse before the fireworks. So even if it's throwing it down with rain, we will still find a way to do a live stream on Saturday for you guys, even if that has to be from my greenhouse again. Johnny Firecracker is here. This is a great idea for a live stream. Shame I can't stop in longer to watch. Well, listen, Johnny, I appreciate you dropping in. Thank you so much for being here. I've done a few of these now over the last week or so, doing all my prep. I'll probably be doing another one this evening later on. Not quite sure what time yet, but if you subscribe and enable notifications, then you'll get notified every time I go live. So, but thanks for dropping in, Johnny. I appreciate that. Bulletproof Mum says, yep, 17 years old and 6'2", still wants a costume. He's going as a ghost with wings and antenna. Booby, okay, yeah. Clever. I was actually chatting to somebody the other day who's going to use a drone. He has drones and he's going to fly a ghost underneath a drone on like a 20-meter like invisible thread, so you can have a ghost that kind of flies around and has light up eyes. I thought that's a really clever idea. That's really going to freak the kids out. Right, so we skimmed the top of those three. Let's skim the top of Fluffy. Like so. So Fluffy's going to go in there. Ronin, Fusion, Fission, all slightly different effects in those. Tina Whitney says a booby is something clearly, yes. Yeah, it's a play on words, I do get it. Ultimate Battle of Colours from Brothers. So it's been around for years, this. Never actually got round to firing it, so I thought let's fire a couple this year and see what they're like. Try and get some decent footage of them as well, because all the footage is 11 years old and stuff and really poor quality, so thought I'd throw a couple of these in, why not? That's Ultimate Battle of Colours. That drone ghost sounds really cool. Yeah, I thought it was a really good idea, that, but it's going to freak people out. Right, Night Tales has a reserve fuse. Fuses are on top on this, which is useful. I do prefer fireworks where the fuses are on top as opposed to on the side. Reserve fuses, again, I've done a video on reserve fuses if you want to know more about them. what they're for, what you can use them for, when to use them, is it safe to use them. There's a video on that on my channel, just search reserve fuses. But for this show, I shouldn't need to use reserve fuses. Well, I'm not going to use reserve fuses, let's put it that way. If the main fuse doesn't light, I'm not going to be lighting the reserve fuse during this show. So reserve fuse is a bit redundant. It's pink in this one, which is good. So I can clearly see the difference between the main fuse and the reserve fuse, because the main fuse will be green. Let's take the fuse cover off there. There's the main fuse. So reserve fuse I don't want, I want it out of the way so I don't use it by mistake. Just tucking it down inside the firework, and I'll put a little bit of foil over the top of that just to protect it. Like so, and that just protects it from any stray sparks, and also means that I can see where the reserve fuse is if I need to use it again in the future. If this firework doesn't get used on this show, doesn't fire for whatever reason, I can potentially use it again in another show. So that's Night Tales. Last one, and then we'll probably call it quits for this stream, because I need to go and pick my daughter up very soon. But once she goes to bed and I've had some food, I'll probably be streaming again later this evening. So hope you can all rejoin me for that. This one has its fuse on the side. It does have reserve fuse as well, but that's going to be protected, so I don't need to do anything with that. Main fuse is there. So there we go. So in the stream later on, we will connect all those up. We'll secure them all down. If you missed how to do that earlier, we'll do that all again later on. We then may, we've got more cakes that I need to prepare, so I need to waterproof and fuse those. I got some candles I need to prepare, and there's quite a lot I still got to do. So we'll see how much we get done on the stream later. But for now, with 12 of you still watching, I'm going to sign off for now. Hope you guys can join me in a few hours' time for part, well, I was going to say part 2, but I think this is about part 6, 7 of my prep behind the scenes live streams I've been doing over the last week or so. So I do hope you guys can join me later this evening. But for now, as we come up to the 2-hour mark, in fact, let's go, oh, we've streamed for 1 hour 57. I should probably go for another 3 minutes, shouldn't I? Make it a nice 2 hours. Let's see, we've still got 12 people here as well. So if you're just joining me, my name's Mark. I do fireworks professionally and as a hobby. I've been doing fireworks for almost as long as I can remember. I've been prepping for a show that I'm doing, a community show, public show in Liverpool on Bonfire Night, which is this coming Sunday. Doing as much prep as I can beforehand to save time, set up time on the day. So that's basically, yeah, that's basically me. If you like fireworks, do consider checking out my channel. I do loads of fireworks stuff there. I've been able to get my hands on some brand new fireworks this year before anybody else, and I've got exclusive landed footage of those on my channel before anybody else did. Some really exciting new fireworks from the likes of Celtic and Vivid and Evolution and Primed and loads of different brands. So lots of cool stuff on my channel. Do go check that out whilst you're waiting for me to come back live. UK Firework Awards you'll find on there as well. Loads of good stuff. So yeah, so we are coming up to the 2-hour mark. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go and pick my daughter up. Going to put her down to bed, get some food, and then join you guys again in a few hours' time. So until then, yeah, bye. I need to think of a better sign off than that, don't I? Anyway, I'll see you guys again later. Bye for now.